Hi, I'm Aihopz. Welcome to my first video. In this video, I want to demonstrate how I was able to make this character you see in the screen. I think it came out pretty well, so I think we might learn something from watching over how I made it. If you want to try something like this, I have the tools in the description. The two main tools I used was PNGTuber Plus and Krita, both which are free. So again, if you want to find out more about them, check the description below this video. I will also leave tools for other programs I use for streaming. So how this video will work is I'll be talking over a sped up version of my art streams I did in the past. They're still there in the channel if you want to look over them, but they're not very fun. They're useful if you want to see every step of the process, but they're not very entertaining. Hopefully this video will kind of wrap everything up and make it more fun for everyone. Hopefully you guys find something useful in this video. Okay, let's get drawing. Now before we start the video, I want to show you a little bit of my first rough sketch. It seems I lost that footage as I was looking over the speed paint. This wasn't on there. So let's go over this a little bit. So this is my first sketch. As you can see, it's changed a lot. So from the beginning, I had the idea of having a bandana around its neck, the floppy ears, and the bushy face. For those that are interested in how this was made, this was just done with the basic pencil brush with a blue color, and then I paint the rough shapes first. A lot of this isn't symmetrical. I don't use rules or guides for any of these first sketch. The one thing that I do like to use is having straight lines around things that I'm drawing so that I have a reference to straight lines, which I guess are guides. So I have some here in the face and then some more lines down here. I have some lines down here near the body, and that just makes it easier for me to make curves because it gives me a reference to where a straight line is. So once I'm done with a rough sketch like this, then I move on to a more cleaned up version, which is the second sketch item I have here. You can see this is done with the pen brush, and I go over the lines. This time I use the symmetry tool that's up here. This makes it so that anything I draw is drawn on the same on the left side or the right. If we put the sketch over this cleaned up version, you can see how I went over and did a few adjustments, changing sizes of things, changing proportions, as well as using the symmetry tool to make a nice curve. Now after this version of a sketch, after this second sketch, I go over it with the final lines. In the final line art, I change things that are symmetrical, and I also change a few more things that I think needed tweaking. Here I don't add a lot of detail either, so that gets added with the line work. And one of the major things you can see I changed here was the eyes. The eyes here are only so that I can get a shape. After this sketch, I have the next steps recorded, so let's start watching the video. I drew tones on the wrong layer, so now I need to remove them from that layer. I decided to do this instead of redrawing the whole line art. This is just me fixing my mistakes. I didn't realize I had messed up my layers. Nothing much to see here but my mistakes. Okay, so the first thing that I'll mention is why I have things in different colors. From the beginning, I knew that I was going to animate some of these parts, so when I drew them separately, I used the colors to help me visualize the differences between the parts that are moving. So I have one color for the head and different colors for the ears. Seems like right now I just redid the whole tone work in a different layer, and now I'm doing some inking around the face. How I had these individual layers was base color, the line art, the tones, and the inking. After looking for some references, I noticed that having dark, thick lines in some places made it look more authentic. Here I moved on to the bandana. I made a little knot, and I'm making the neck part right now. I did struggle with the folds. I'm still not very good at them. I'm guessing I just need more practice, but I think it came out decent enough. Here I'm adding that base color with a bright green. It helps me see the separate layers. And now I'm adding the tones. And this is the inking phase. Here I add dark strokes to the edges. Now I start on the loose ends of the bandana, it seems. Okay, here we go. So we started with the loose ends of the bandana. Now I struggled a little to kind of get the proper shape, to figure out the shape. So again, I did the line work, then the tones, and then finally the inking, and then that's how it comes out. And again, picking a separate color to make the layer visible. So after this, I moved on to the part that covers the body. After watching a video about how PNGTuber works, an important tip was to make sure to draw more than what was visible so that when these items moved, it wasn't obvious that they were separate parts of the model. And here I moved on to the body. A lot of the line work is just me attempting the perfect stroke, which is why you see a lot of drawing and redrawing of lines, especially in areas that have many curves. So I added the base color. Next, the tones. The tones are used basically as a shadow. I ink on the edges to make the piece look more manga-ish. And here's the nose. And here we have the mouth. Now for the eyes, I do end up changing them, but this is the second version of the eyes. You will see me drawing different layers for the animation in PNGTuber. Again, this is a version that I ended up changing. If you saw there, the mouth, I had animated the open and closed mouth, and I had drawn the open eyes, and I think the eyebrows moved there too. And that was it for the first video. As you can see, there's still a few things that I ended up changing. I changed the eyebrows and the eyes. Something I would like to add here is for the mouth, I ended up looking at a reference and saw that a few people like to draw them with the teeth showing, so they did that with the mouth open. Let's see if I can find other things to talk about here. It's very simple. Basically, just do the rough sketch, the second version of the sketch with symmetry tools, and then in the final sketch, I take away some of that symmetry. Like in the face, if you see here, the left and the right fur are different. Same with the one on top. And that also applies to the ears, as one is straight and the other one is droopy. Another thing that helped me was keeping my layers organized, so I named all of them and put them in different groups. This also made it very easy to then import into PNGTuber. Yeah, and I think that's it. Not very complicated. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments, and I'll probably respond back in a short form video. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next one.